Hi, I'm Bob Saul from Lithofin, and today in the series of cleaning, protecting and maintaining, we're going to look at deep cleaning or restoration of porcelain surfaces. Today we're going to have a look at a couple of products which will hopefully bring back those porcelain surfaces for you. We've got Lithofin Intensive Cleaner. This is an alkaline product, and this basically will deal with sort of deeper greases and general dirt from the surface of the floor. And then generally we will follow that with Lithofin Ceramic Clean. And this is a mildly acidic product, and we'll deal with sort of watermarking, salts, limescale. So in wet areas and bathrooms where you've got those sort of watermarks and build up, the Ceramic Clean will deal with and remove those mineral salts. So generally, as we normally would, we're going to complete a test. It doesn't matter how big the floor is. We'd always recommend a 1 or 2 tile test. That will basically determine the dilution of the product, the application time of the product, and whether it's removing the amount of contamination you're trying to get rid of. Well, again, once you've got that test right, you can work through the floors in small controlled sections and complete the whole area. So we're going to use Lithofin Intensive Cleaner first. Again, that will degrease the floors, get rid of general dirt, and what might be remaining, if there was any, is any salts or mineral salts, so we can then go on and use the Ceramic Clean. So for the intensive cleaner, the equipment I'm using, so I've got a white emulsifying pad. Depending on how textured the tiles are and the grout, I've got a scrubbing brush. I've got a sponge to take up any product. And I've also got a towel just to towel dry the tile once we've completed the test. I've got a couple of buckets with some fresh water. Now the intensive cleaner, we do a lot of testing on commercial sites, residential, and this is basically the test that I will complete on site. So I'm going to mix up 4 parts water to 1 part of the intensive cleaner. So I've got the 4 parts water in there. And basically we want to keep it as light as we can to start with. There's no need to go into neat. We'll make sure this works and cleans up the area. But we've diluted that product. I'm going to use a pair of gloves. It's quite a strong product here. So what we're going to do is, basically if you're doing a test section, go to a corner of a room, a discrete area that you're going to complete the test. And what we want to do, step back from skirtings, things like that, because we don't want to intrude on the skirting boards. Obviously, if we complete a larger area, you just will need to prep those. If you're doing these deeper cleans, just protect them. They might be wood finishes or painted finishes. You don't want to splash the deeper cleaners onto those, so you might just run around with a low-tack decorator's masking tape, or if you're doing larger commercial areas, you might want to actually, like I do, just put a little sort of knee-height plastic and tack that up, so you protect those sections. But with the test, we're just going to do a tile or half a tile on each here as a test, which will include a grout. We've got our 4 to 1, and what we're going to do is apply that generously. Okay, so now obviously these are cleanish tiles just for testing, but you want to be able to apply enough literally to be able to push the product around. Okay, you don't want just to wet it out. You're literally going to be able to push that around. And we're going to keep this product on for about maybe 12 to 15 minutes, depending on the contamination, how heavy the contamination is. If your floor's just got a little bit grubby, you might try that at 1 to 10. Have it on for maybe 2 or 3 minutes and rinse that off and towel dry. But if your floor's really grubby, I would say you're into the 12, 15 minutes maybe. And literally you're going to, like I say, be able to push it around, and you're going to sit this on for those that application time. And every 2 to 3 minutes, you want to be scrubbing with the pad. Now there are applicators or pad applicators if you don't want to get your hands on there. We've got those available on the website that basically just keep your hands out of those pads. And you're working the product, okay? Every 2 to 3 minutes, you can let that sit, let it dwell, and what that's doing is it's breaking down those greases gradually. Let the product work, and then mechanically sort of help it along with the pad. Obviously, if you've got textured tiles, you might want to go in with the brush. So again, don't let this dry out. If it starts to dry out, add more product, and you're going to work the brush across the face of the tile, and especially into the grout joints. Don't be afraid to get into the grout joints, and those every 2-3 minutes, just work the grout joint with the brush. And again, the product will soften and break those greases down. The brush, you're sort of aiding it along and mechanically cleaning the face and of the tile every 2 to 3 minutes of that application time. Now, we won't leave this on for sort of 15 minutes, but if we imagine now we've given it our last scrub, we'll just pop that to one side. And what we're going to do now is we're going to take this up again with a sponge, just whip this away. Okay, now we're going to start rinsing. So it's important that you rinse these sort of deeper cleaners up and just wash across the tile, wash across the grout, maybe even bring the pad back on and give that a little scrub with the rinsing water. Don't be afraid to put too much on there because we really want to give this a good rinse. Again, we'll take that back up. Now, when obviously once you've done this test and you've completed this test, for larger areas, you might find, and certainly commercial areas, larger areas, you might find obviously once this is completed that a wet vac, if you're using a wet vac, I will always use that to lift this away, and you'll find that when you're working in those controlled sections, you can very easily, I put a rotary machine on with a white pad if you're doing commercial stuff, and use a rotary machine, and I'll have a wet vac. If you're doing a larger residential floor, it might be worth hiring a wet vac in just for a weekend, say, to do the larger areas, because picking this wastewater up, you'll have it up in seconds with those wet vac. It can be done with a sponge, not a problem, just work in smaller sections. So once we've given that a couple of rinses, what I'll do is basically just towel dry. Now, towel drying, certainly on the polished floors where you've given them a deeper clean, if you towel these back, we'll get that back to a nice shine tile. You'll be able to remove all that loose water, surface water. And if you then give that half an hour or 15 minutes, you can have a look at the tile and make sure that you've removed all the contamination, that you've removed all the dirt within the grout joints. Again, with the grout joints drying off, it may be several hours or even overnight before you can see that you've got that colour back, because obviously they'll be damp. But basically just towel dry that test and you can determine whether you've actually removed all the contamination and you're happy with that finish on the floor. If you're not, and you've still got contamination on there, you might want to reapply at the 1 to 4, or you might want to strengthen it, maybe bring it down to 1 to 3 or 1 to 2, retest it, maybe give it 15-20 minutes, a little bit more scrubbing and pad work. But it's to determine this test. Once we've got this, we can work through in those controlled sections to complete it. Okay, now, once you, say in a bathroom scenario or in commercial where I do sort of spas or sports centres, where you might be left then with watermarking, or in showers in residential, you're left with sort of watermarking or salts. What we've then got is Lithofin Ceramic Clean. Now, this can be used again, diluted maybe up to 1 to 4, in exactly the same way I've just done here. What you might find is when you've got these floors and maybe the grout is looking a little bit grubby, this can actually just sort of tickle away and clean up the grouted area as well. So it'll brighten those grout areas on floors in a lot of cases. But I would recommend maybe about 1 to 4 to retest the ceramic clean. If that doesn't work, bring it down 1 to 3, 1 to 2, or even, I mean, you can use it neat around sort of tap areas and shower areas, just where that scale might be a little bit thicker. But basically the two products used in conjunction with each other will definitely restore or refurb older tired porcelain floors. If you need any other information on these two products, please have a look at the website. If you do complete this test tile and you're having problems, just stop there at the test point. There's a number on the back of the bottle. Give us a call onto the technical line and we can have a chat with you, or maybe get some photos of the floors that you're trying to restore if you need any further assistance. And I'm sure we can get these floors up and running for you. Have a look on the website. Any information you need, do come back to us. Thank you.